I've said it once, I said it twice, I'll say it again. Discipline will always overcome excuses, procrastination, and distractions. What's going on? My name is Ger'rell King, and my goal is to help you get fit for the game of life so that you can level up in real life, not a video game, and beat every final boss that you ever come across in all of your valor while looking great at it in the process. And the way that you do this is by being fit physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, and mentally. So there's a video that we're going to watch right now, and I want to know if anyone here can relate to what this young lady is saying. So without further ado, this is my first time actually reacting to a video, but without further ado, let's hear out the young lady and see what she has to say.
I'm gonna be so for real right now, and I'm curious if you agree with this. I don't care how it sounds. Ever since I formed a certain amount of discipline for myself, and for reference, I lost 14 pounds in 6 months. I have never been able to achieve the physique that I have now, and that required a lot of discipline. I think it's the most disciplined I've ever been in my life. But ever since I developed it, I have a hard time liking people with excuses. And I'm curious, anyone that's disciplined, what do you think? It sounds so rude, but I really cannot stand it. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Like, you think you and I are different? Do you think that my genetics were better? At the end of the day, no. It was hard work. It was doing it when you didn't want to do it. Being like, well, when do you get up for work? Okay, get up an hour earlier. And they're like, well, I don't want to do it. I go, me either, but I do it. When they complain saying, well, I don't want to track my macros, it just seems so time consuming. I go, it's really not. Have you ever actually looked into it? Have you actually ever tried? There's just something about it that I can't stand the excuses anymore. And I'm so
there you have it, right? She starts it off by saying that now that she has gotten in shape, she has a hard time liking people that make excuses, that don't have discipline. And ever since that she became disciplined and got in shape without making excuses and switching up her mindset and her habits, she said it's hard for her to like people that make excuses. And she's asking if anyone else feels that way. And my answer to that is 100% yes. When you are disciplined, someone like myself, when you get around other people who are not disciplined, it doesn't even feel right being around them, because one, just the presence, your presence alone is going to be different than everyone else's that you're around, depending on what shape that you're in, how you dress, how you carry yourself. You know, in this case, we're talking about physically, we're talking about fitness, we're talking about being in shape. And being in shape is the number one thing that I can continue to preach that requires the most discipline, because it does, especially in the world that we live in today. But when you get to a point where you're disciplined, when your body is in a certain shape, and then you start dressing a certain kind of way, which complements your body, when you get around people, there's going to be different reactions that you experience when you get around these people. Some people will compliment you. Other people may ask questions. They say, hey, you know, what do you do? What have you been doing? What's your routine? They start asking all these questions as if they're going to implement them. Most of the time they're not. They're just kind of glazing you and, you know, bringing up the fact or idea that they may want to look like that. But if they really wanted to, they'd already be doing what it takes to do it, right? But as they ask you these questions, they usually will start giving you their excuses in their conversation. They say, what do you do to look like this? You say, oh, well, I quit drinking. They say, oh, well, I thought about quitting drinking, but... And then they proceed to insert whatever BS excuse that they have to justify why they continue to drink and can't control themselves. And that will happen across all excuses. Oh, I thought about giving up bread, or I thought about going to sleep early, or I thought about getting a gym membership. I thought about getting up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. I thought about taking my lunch break to go do this. They'll say all these things based off of whatever your answer was of what you do and how you decided to respond to their question. They're going to give you some kind of excuse. And you then if you are in good shape and are disciplined, are going to hear just excuses. You're not going to hear like a sob story. You're not going to have any sympathy. You're not going to have any empathy. You're not going to feel bad for this person at all, because all they're really doing is giving you lip service and giving themselves a reason to justify why they haven't done what is required to be in the shape that they claim that they say they want to be in. And that's just really what it is. So it's hard for you as a person to be around certain people when you are in the best shape of your life, when you are the best version of yourself, because most people are not the best versions of themselves. It's just the truth. Most people are some kind of version of themselves. It could be the worst. It could be the average version of themselves. They know that they can do better, but they kind of just settle for where they are. They settle for being average or mediocre. They plateaued and they're not really doing anything else to be better, but they're not doing much to be worse either. They're just kind of riding it out. But you're either getting better or you're getting worse in my book. There's no way that you're just staying in one place. You're either growing or you're shrinking. You're either improving or you're declining. Like, it's one or the other. So these people that you're around, you have to be mindful of, because they are looking at you a certain kind of way. You're looking at them a certain kind of way, even if it's subconsciously. But the fact of the matter is that you may have some type of bad taste in your mouth because you're around people who don't strive to be better. And they may be looking at you the same exact way, but on the opposite end of that lens and spectrum, because they may be looking at you as, you think that you're better than us. You think that you're better than me. And again, a lot of that time is just projecting. It's just them seeing what they could be, what they choose not to do, and seeing you choose to do it, and then them being upset that you choose to do it and they choose not to do it for whatever excuse that they come up with. And then they villainize you for making them feel bad for not doing what they say that they want to do. So you are the bad guy for being the best version of yourself. And as I've said before, that is okay, because you are never supposed to dim down your light and shrink yourself to make somebody else who doesn't really matter in your life in the grand scheme feel better about themselves for their failures. That's not your responsibility. It's not. Your responsibility is to continue to grow, to be better, to improve, to thrive, to excel. That's what it takes to be a winner in the game of life. This is a game. You have to remember that everyone else that you come across in life are all playing the same game that you're playing. And certain people are at certain levels or scores than others. Many people don't like the fact that that's the case, but it is the case. The people that don't like the fact that that's the case is because they're losing. They don't want people to keep score because their score is low. But if you think about our entire life of how we were raised in this country, there's always been some kind of ranking system or score system. That's always how it's been. Specifically in school, you got graded. You got grades. You could get an A, B, C, D, and an F. You can even get a minus or a plus. You had a GPA that was 4.0 and below. And that was what was going to determine where you ranked as far as your class, the classes that you took, if you were going to get scholarships, if you were going to get extra treatment or certain types of treatment, if you were going to be in certain programs. All of that mattered in school, from kindergarten to college. Grades. It doesn't change once you leave school and go into the real world. It's still there. The grading system just changes. Then it becomes a social thing. A lot of times it becomes about finances. You know, one of the main ways that a person keeps score is how much money that they make. A person who has a lot of money is winning in this game compared to a person who doesn't have any money. That person doesn't have the options, the resources, the freedom, whatever it is that they would need to have to win at the game. They're going to have struggles. That doesn't mean that the person at the top with the most finances doesn't have struggles. But many people and most people's struggles can be solved with finances, let alone, personal, internal, intangible things and characteristics and things that can help them improve and be better in those areas of their life. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this system is a game, and everything comes down to some kind of ranking and performance. And you have to be able to perform at your highest level to get the highest score, to get a better outcome, have the best options, and live the best life. That's just what it is. And fitness is always going to be the door that leads you down the path of success. If you want to be successful, you have to take care of your body. And I said this in a previous video, because even if you have all the money, even if you are winning financially, what good is that money if you're unhealthy and you don't live long enough to be able to enjoy it? You're in the hospital all the time. You're on these medications. You're stuck in the bed or can't go around people because whatever, you might be contagious or on, I don't know, freaking a radiation treatment or anything. Like, you have to take care of your body first. It is the first outfit that you put on every day and go to sleep in. It's your pajamas, it's your suit, it's your wardrobe. Your body is your first wardrobe. And the way that you make sure that wardrobe is uniform and looks good is by exercise. And exercise has to be done consistently, and eating good also has to be done consistently, and that requires discipline. And when you get on that path and you understand that and you start to commit to that and you start to live that out, it's not just a one-time thing. It's not just a do this for 6 months and then go back to what it is. It is a lifelong commitment. But once you make that lifelong commitment, you will start to see the separation in your mindset, in your choices, in your decisions, and in your quality of life compared to those who choose not to make that decision. And you will realize that you don't fit in. You don't fit in with them and they don't fit in with you. However, you may work with these people, be related to these people. You might even be in a relationship with these people. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that your discipline is going to separate you from everyone else's, because most people in today's society are just not disciplined. They're not. Most people are binge eating, binging social media, binging some kind of internet consumption, binging being lazy, binging convenience, and then complaining about why they are unhappy in this life. And that's just what it is. So find comfort in their discomfort. Don't take it to the heart. Don't take it personal that you don't like these people, but you shouldn't, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, it's not like you wish ill intent towards these people, but you just have to realize that birds of a feather flock together and steel sharpens steel. So for you to continue to improve in life, you have to surround yourself with people who are also improving in life. And you hanging out with people that you don't feel like are on your level isn't going to help you get anywhere. They say all it takes is one bad apple to spoil the bunch. So more likely than not, those people will probably want to hang out with you, and that's on you if you want to help them level up. But you got to think about how you benefit from that situation. Some people do that, some people don't. And that's for you to decide. But what do you think? You heard her, you heard what she said, you heard what I said. What are your thoughts? Do you find yourself being okay with people who make excuses when you know you've put in the work to get to where you need to get to? Or are you okay with that? And do you sympathize and empathize and hang around these people and continue to entertain whatever conversations and questions that they have and excuses that they make of why they don't do what it takes to live the life that they want for themselves? I couldn't tell you. But what I can tell you is, if you aren't in a place where you want to be physically, you aren't putting in the work to get your money up, you aren't feeling confident about yourself, you don't really know what you're doing in this life, and you're confused and frustrated with where you currently are, one of the best ways that you can solve that is first just really finding out what your score is in this game of life. So I'll put together a quiz. You can click the link in the description box below. Take my quiz and find out your score in the game of life. Once you see what the score is, you'll be in a better position to start making adjustments, because you'll know what your weak points are. are and your strong points are, and from there you can start making the changes you need to change so that you can start winning in this game, which is what I want you to do. That's what we're here to do together. So if you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. And if you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to the channel and hit the like button. It always helps the channel grow, helps more people see this video. So until next time, I'll be back soon. Peace out.